Blossom Tales 2. The Minotaur Prince is that Zelda-like you've been looking for, especially if you're a fan of classics like Minish Cap. In The Minotaur Prince, the protagonist of the time is Lily, a young woman who accidentally wished for her brother to disappear and regretted it bitterly after the Minotaur King took her brother, Cris, away. Blossom Tales 2 is the continuation of Blossom Tales, The Sleeping King, but don't worry that it's not necessary to have played the first one to understand the second one. I also emphasize here that this analysis is being done only with the knowledge and opinions of the second game alone. In The Minotaur Prince, the story is actually being told. The brother's grandfather is sitting at the fire with his grandchildren and decides to create a story involving the two, which turns the story we play. At certain times we have this break for the grandfather telling or the children interrupting what generated this very cool interaction. And every time the player starts the game to continue. The first scene is the grandfather remembering what was done and what should be done, facilitating those people who have short memory, like me. But don't go expecting a story full of twists and plot twists. The story that takes place in Blossom Tales 2 evolves in a very linear way and without so many surprises, but with a good evolution of the main characters, which in no way makes the game boring or predictable. In my opinion, it only made the game more couch play. That is, that game that doesn't demand so much from you. Perfect to play lying on the couch. Blossom Tales has a simple and intuitive gameplay. The developers got really creative here and put in a wide variety of weapons and abilities that let you switch between the various styles of play until you find a favorite. Another positive point was undoubtedly the player's interaction with the game. At certain times you can make decisions for little Lily, and this will determine the direction your story will take, or rather, what your grandfather is telling. This feature further enhances the immersion with the game, making the player feel like they are in Lily's shoes. The enemies also have very varied skills and do not leave the battles repetitive. In each dungeon, for example, you need to combine certain weapons and skills to defeat the boss. That is, there is still a little strategy here. There are enemies that will be super easy to defeat with bombs, others will be more sensitive to arrows, and so on. The game also has a crafting mechanic, in which you collect various items present in forests, beaches and other environments that can be used later to make potions, for example. Oh, but don't forget to have an empty pot with you. The music was well explored here and each environment has its characteristic track. In addition, the sound effects, weapons, blows, explosions and others remind a lot of retro games. The characters unfortunately don't have sound, not even when they are bigger and more important scenes, so I think that took some of the emotion out of certain scenes. The graphics in Blossom Tales 2 are very colorful and in that retro style, as if it had been made for a Game Boy. Each scenario on the map is well done and has the details in the right measure. The characters manage to portray the image of each NPC well, even some being too similar to represent a group like the Beach Pirates. The dungeons are also rich in details and full of colors, even though they are in a world of pixels and square shapes, bringing the characterization of the story in a fantasy and epic style. Without a doubt, the graphics here were essential to bring that feeling of nostalgia from classic RPGs, like Minish Cap and A Link to the Past. Positives of the game: well-designed dungeons, simple and intuitive gameplay, interactive game, potion crafting, character evolution, a wide variety of weapons and skills, more than 15 hours of gameplay. Negatives: NPCs with the same lines, complete silence in certain parts, predictable story. Evaluation: History 7, Gameplay 9, Graphics 10, Soundtrack 8.5, Final Note 8.62. Review written by Sylvie Cortegica and published on the Revolution Arena website.